Let's dive into the story. Why are there not more people talking about the dark side of the internet in the case of Melissa Turner? This is gonna blow your mind. The internet, a realm of connection, of fantasy, of escape. For Melissa Turner, it was a world of endless possibilities and hidden dangers. She meticulously built an empire, creating an online persona that mesmerized thousands. Known as TwoThornedRose, she was a successful camgirl living a life many envied. Yet dreams have a way of twisting into nightmares. On Halloween night, 2019, the boundary between Melissa's digital fantasy and her reality shattered. Blood was spilled, a life was lost. This case sent chills down the spine of many, including myself. It reminded me of a friend who also lived a double life online. The woman behind the webcam was thrust into the spotlight, becoming the focal point of a murder investigation that would captivate the nation. Melissa Turner wasn't always TwoThornedRose. Growing up in Tampa, Florida, she was just another overweight teenager, grappling with insecurity and self-doubt. At her heaviest, she weighed over 250 pounds. The weight held her back, stifling her dreams of cosplaying and expressing herself creatively. But Melissa was determined to change. She embarked on a weight loss journey, shedding over 90 pounds and transforming her body and her outlook. This was her first metamorphosis, the first step towards the woman she would become. Empowered by her weight loss, Melissa discovered the world of online adult entertainment. It was 2014 and camming was on the rise. She chose the username TwoThornedRose, a moniker that hinted at both beauty and danger. With her newfound confidence and striking looks, she blossomed in front of the camera. Thousands were drawn to her charm and quick wit. Money flowed in. Melissa was no longer just a girl from Tampa. She was a brand, an online entity, living a life most could only dream of. In the summer of 2017, amidst the whirlwind of her online success, Melissa met Matthew Trussler. He was a transplant from Massachusetts, drawn to Florida for a fresh start. He was working as a restaurant manager, a stark contrast to Melissa's online life. They seemed an unlikely pair, but love, as they say, is blind. They moved in together, eventually buying a 4-bedroom house in Riverview, Florida. On the surface, it looked like a fairy tale, the camgirl who found love. But fairy tales often hide dark secrets. Behind the curated Instagram posts and the happy couple photos, cracks began to show. Neighbors reported loud arguments, the sounds of screaming echoing through the night. Melissa's ex-boyfriend, known only as Sin, allegedly made threats against the couple, adding another layer of tension to their relationship. Was Matthew controlling, as some speculated, or was Melissa's online life spilling into her reality, blurring the lines between fantasy and truth? The truth, like always, lay somewhere in the shadows. October 18th, 2019. A day that started like any other but ended in tragedy. A date that would forever be etched in the annals of true crime, marking a turning point in the lives of many. It was just days before Halloween when the police received a frantic 911 call. The dispatcher could barely make out the words through the sobs and screams. The voice on the other end was Melissa Turner's. She was in a state of sheer panic, her voice trembling as she tried to explain the horror that had just unfolded. She was hysterical, claiming that Matthew had attacked her, that she had acted in self-defense. Her words were a jumbled mix of fear and desperation, but when police arrived at the couple's home, they found a scene straight out of a horror movie. The air was thick with tension and the smell of blood. Matthew lay dead on the patio, his body riddled with stab wounds. The sight was both shocking and heartbreaking. His blood stained the concrete, a gruesome testament to the violence that had unfolded. The once peaceful home had turned into a nightmarish crime scene, leaving everyone questioning what had truly happened that fateful night. As investigators combed through the evidence, they found themselves piecing together a puzzle that seemed more complex with each discovery. The neighbors were interviewed, and their accounts painted a picture of a couple with a tumultuous relationship. Some described hearing frequent arguments, while others mentioned seeing bruises on Melissa. The community was divided, with some believing Melissa's story of self-defense and others suspecting a more sinister motive. Forensic experts meticulously analyzed the blood samples and the pattern of the wounds. Each piece of evidence was crucial in unraveling the truth behind the violent encounter. The case eventually went to trial, where both the prosecution and defense presented their arguments. The courtroom was filled with tension as witnesses took the stand, each adding a new layer to the story. The jury deliberated for days, weighing the evidence and testimonies. The fate of Melissa Turner hung in the balance as the world watched and waited for the verdict. The trial captured the attention of the media, with headlines speculating on the outcome and reporters covering every twist and turn. It was a story that gripped the nation, a tragic tale of love, violence, and the quest for justice. As detectives began to piece together the events of that night, inconsistencies in Melissa's story emerged. She claimed self-defense, but the number and location of Matthew's wounds cast doubt on her account. He had been stabbed multiple times, the brutality of the attack suggesting a level of rage that belied her claims. Furthermore, Melissa had no visible injuries, making her story even more suspect. The Camgirl who had captivated thousands with her charm and beauty was now the prime suspect in a gruesome murder. In the digital age, secrets are hard to keep. The investigation soon turned to the couple's online activity. Matthew's smartwatch, a silent witness to the crime, revealed a damning timeline. Data showed that his heart rate had spiked during an altercation, then stopped abruptly. This directly contradicted Melissa's version of events. Additionally, a neighbor's security camera had captured audio of the fight, the sounds of screaming and struggling filling the air. The evidence was mounting, painting a picture of a relationship torn apart by jealousy, rage, and ultimately violence. The trial of Melissa Turner was a media sensation. The courthouse was swarmed with reporters, cameras flashing, and journalists eager to capture every moment of the proceedings. It was a spectacle that gripped the nation. Melissa, a camgirl who had once commanded attention online, was now the center of a different kind of attention. Her online persona, which had garnered her a massive following, was now under the harsh scrutiny of the courtroom. Prosecutors argued that she had killed Matthew in a fit of jealous rage. They painted a picture of a woman driven to the edge by her own insecurities and Matthew's attempts to control her online activities. The prosecution's narrative was compelling. They described a crime of passion, a moment of uncontrollable anger that led to a tragic end. The evidence they presented was damning, leaving little room for doubt in the minds of many. They argued that Melissa's actions were premeditated, driven by a desire to maintain her online empire at any cost. The crime scene investigation revealed a tangled web of online interactions and real-life consequences. The defense, however, maintained her innocence. They claimed that Melissa had acted in self-defense, painting Matthew as an abusive partner who had pushed her to the brink. They argued that she had no choice but to protect herself. Flashbacks of the couple's tumultuous relationship were presented, showing a pattern of control and manipulation. The defense sought to humanize Melissa, portraying her as a victim of circumstances beyond her control. The jury, however, was unconvinced. After days of deliberation, weighing the evidence and the emotional testimonies, they struggled to reach a consensus. The tension in the courtroom was palpable as everyone awaited their decision. Finally, the jury returned a guilty verdict. Melissa Turner, the woman who had built an empire on fantasy, was found guilty of second-degree murder. The judge's voice echoed through the silent courtroom as he read the verdict. Melissa's online world, filled with luxury and adoration, was shattered. The reality of her situation set in as she faced the consequences of her actions. As she was escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs, the once celebrated camgirl now faced a future behind bars. The trial had come to an end, but the questions it raised about justice and the influence of online personas lingered. Melissa Turner was sentenced to 20 years in prison, a stark reminder that actions have consequences, both online and off. Her case sent shockwaves through the camming community and beyond, forcing a conversation about the dangers of online anonymity and the blurred lines between our digital and real lives. Was Melissa a victim of circumstance, driven to violence by an abusive partner? Or was she a master manipulator, hiding her true nature behind a carefully crafted online persona? The truth, as is often the case, likely lies somewhere in between. The case of Melissa Turner serves as a cautionary tale for the digital age. Melissa, known online as TwoThornedRose, was a seemingly ordinary individual who led a double life on the internet. Her online persona was charismatic, engaging, and mysterious, drawing in countless followers who were captivated by her every post and comment. It reminds us that the internet is not a lawless frontier, that our online actions can have real-world consequences. Melissa's story is a stark reminder that behind every screen name and profile picture, there is a real person with real emotions and real stakes. The anonymity that the internet provides can be a double-edged sword, offering both freedom and a dangerous lack of accountability. It also highlights the dangers of anonymity, the ease with which we can craft idealized versions of ourselves online, hiding our flaws and our demons. Melissa's online persona was a carefully curated facade designed to mask her insecurities and her darker inclinations. She used the anonymity to manipulate and deceive, creating a web of lies that ultimately ensnared her. In the end, Melissa Turner's story is a tragedy that unfolded both online and offline, blurring the lines between the virtual and the real. Her actions led to a series of events that spiraled out of control, culminating in a violent confrontation that shocked her community and left a lasting impact on those who knew her. A tragedy of ambition, of deceit, and ultimately, of violence. Melissa's ambition drove her to take risks and make choices that had devastating consequences. Her deceit created a fragile house of cards that eventually came crashing down, revealing the true extent of her actions. The violence that ensued was a grim reminder of the potential for harm that exists when we lose sight of the humanity behind the screen. It is a story that forces us to confront the dark side of our digital lives and the price we pay for the secrets we keep. Melissa's tale is a sobering reflection on the power and peril of the internet, urging us to be mindful of the personas we create and the impact our online actions can have. It is a cautionary tale that resonates deeply in our increasingly connected world, reminding us that the digital age, while full of possibilities, also comes with profound responsibilities. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Stay safe online, and let's go!